to Gingerbread. My name is Molly if you're new here, and if you're a regular, it's good to see you again. I thought I would do an episode based on some ideas for Valentine's Day. Even if you don't have a significant other, do a Valentine for yourself. Something that makes you happy, makes you smile. I have 3 recipes today. One is heart-shaped pancakes, just a simple pancake batter. I also am going to show you a simple way to do chocolate-covered strawberries and make them look fancy. And then we're also going to do a beet cacao, cocoa, chocolate, whatever you want to call it, latte. Something I've never, 2 of these I've never tried before. The pancake batter that I'm going to have you make, it requires about a cup of almond milk, unsweetened almond milk. Now I've taken about a tablespoon of beet and I blended it up together. So I'm going to try to make it kind of a pink color. So that's why it looks like this. I don't know if how pink it'll stay once I mix the other ingredients with it, but we'll see. Let's go ahead and get started on that. About a half of a tablespoon of vanilla, baking powder, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, and I'm going light on the sugar because we're going to use powdered sugar or syrup afterwards. So I'm just going to do 2 tablespoons of regular granulated sugar. We are going to put in 1/3 cup of egg whites. Now if you're using whole eggs, I only use egg whites, you could do 2 eggs. And I use whole wheat flour, so we're going to use 1 cup of whole wheat flour. I don't sift or anything like that. You know, usually the recipes, unless it's something, a real technical cake or something, you don't really have to, I've found you don't have to sift. So we're over at the stove now to complete these beet pancakes, the heart-shaped ones. Now I did want to mention that if you do get these are on Amazon. Just do a search for heart-shaped pancake, or you could even use them for eggs. I did spray the inside and out, and I've never used these before. So the pan, I sprayed the pan, and then I also sprayed the forms. And this batter is kind of thick, so I'm just going to use, let's try this. I'm going to just barely put this, make sure you don't use too much. Okay, do the next one. I love how putting the beet in there kind of made it match my sweater. Okay, so make sure that your heat is not too high. And we're just gonna let this cook, and then once it has bubbles on the top, that means that it's ready to flip, and then I can take the forms off, and then I'll go ahead and flip it. And again, if you don't have these forms, you can just make these into pancakes. This is probably going to make about 8 to 12 pancakes, just depends on how big you make them. So I'm learning as I go along. These little forms are amazing, but one thing I'm learning, less is more. You can see they would be perfect, but you want to just have them really thin. And then some of these, make sure you have medium to low heat. So what you'll want to do after you spray it is just put a little in, because it spreads out. So literally you want just like where it's just a little, because it'll rise. That's plenty. Okay, so I wanted to show you how the heart-shaped pancakes turned out. Again, I would make them a little thinner, but these are perfectly edible and they're very cute. So let's top them off because we didn't put too much sugar in the batter. I'm going to top them off. You can either use regular maple syrup or Lakanto with monk fruit. But what I'm going to do is do a little bit of raspberry and a little bit of powdered sugar. And then you could just let your loved one who you're giving these to decide if they want syrup or not. Heart-shaped pancakes for Valentine's Day. on the menu for a latte. Everybody loves a latte. We're doing something different. We're doing a ginger spiced beet latte, keeping in that theme of pinks and reds. And beet has a lot of health benefits, so double bonus. So this has a little bit of, if you have cacao nibs, you can sprinkle that on top. That's very healthy, has fiber and some other health antioxidants in it. I don't have any right now, so I'm just gonna use unsweetened cocoa powder. I'm gonna use semi-sweet chocolate in the actual latte. So I found the easiest way, I'm making this for 2. So I found the easiest way, and you can double this recipe if you want. It calls for 2 cups of milk. I'm using unsweetened almond milk. And I've taken 1 tablespoon of the semi-sweet chocolate, and you slowly heat this up. Now you could heat it on the stovetop, or you can heat it in the microwave, but you want to just do it little bits at a time and keep stirring it, so the chocolate doesn't burn. But it also heats this up to make the hot latte and melts your chocolate. You might even do a little bit of the milk first. So 2 cups unsweetened almond milk with 1 tablespoon semi-sweet chocolate. Just try not to spill it like I did. It already smells good. And then about 2 tablespoons of beets. They don't have to be cooked. I just had some sliced up raw beets. The more beet you put in, the redder it could possibly be, but then the chocolate's gonna kind of darken it up a little. And then I'm gonna put 1 tablespoon of unsweetened Dutch cocoa powder. Now for the spices, all of these are going to be 1/8 of a teaspoon. You don't want too much, especially since we're just making enough for 2. You don't want it to be too overpowering. So 1/8 of a teaspoon of ginger, dried ginger. You could put a little tiny chunk of fresh, that would be perfectly fine. 1/8 of a teaspoon of nutmeg. About 1/8 of a teaspoon of cinnamon. And then we need some kind of a little sweetener in it. So you could use honey, agave, you could use regular maple syrup. This time I'm going to use monk fruit. I'm going to try to keep it as healthy as possible. I'm just going to use 1 tablespoon, and that is flavored with monk fruit. So it's a healthy alternative to sugar. And then at this point, you really need to have either a Vitamix or a blender, because I'm going to blend this up, and then I'll show you how to finish it off. Okay, this turned into like a really beautiful pinkish chocolate, and it smells almost like hot cocoa. So again, this was for 2, and it might even have a little left over. So I'm going to show you 2 different ways to prepare this. So the first, isn't it like a really pretty, and it has some natural foam on top. So I had my beautiful husband, he used the espresso machine, and he frothed some milk. Now if you have some cocoa nibs, this is where you would want to go ahead and sprinkle the cocoa nibs. So my husband was nice enough to put some foam, just regular milk that he foamed with the espresso machine. Now if you don't have an espresso machine or a frother, here is your next alternative. I have some fat-free Ready Whip, and that's going to be on the second one. Perfectly fine, and even put a little dash of cinnamon. Here are 2 examples of beautiful ginger spiced beet lattes for your Valentine honey. Let's try this. Valentine's Day wouldn't be a true Valentine's Day with some kind of fruit and chocolate. So I'm opting for the classic chocolate covered strawberries. Now it's really important that you get a double broiler. The water, I put water in there because it slowly heats the chocolate, and you want to make sure that you have it just on kind of a medium to low heat, and you'll just keep stirring. You might want to look in, yeah. And you keep stirring, and I'm also going to add just a touch of water. You don't want it to be too runny because then it won't solidify once you put it on the strawberries. And something that I'm adding that a lot of people don't add, instant coffee. Now I'm using decaf because we're gonna eat this all day long and I don't want to stay up all night because I'm probably gonna have 100 of these. So I'm just gonna put, like, I don't know, maybe a teaspoon of instant espresso. That anytime you're cooking with chocolate, I recommend that you use a little bit of espresso or coffee. It kind of brings out the flavor, it smooths out the chocolate. So what I'm gonna do is get this melted, and then you want to take either a toothpick or like a metal, I'm sorry, a wooden rod of some kind, like a skewer. I'm going to use a fork, and I'm going to stick this in the stem. Now one thing about the strawberries too, I'm using about 2 pounds of strawberries. Try to find the biggest ones you can. And I'm leaving the stem on them. I think it looks prettier. And you want to wash them, but then let them, the drier these are, the more the chocolate's going to stick to it. So these have been drying for a few hours. And then I have the kind of chocolate I'm using. You could use a semi-sweet. I'm using just a dark chocolate. And then you want to have some kind of wax paper, some kind of a place where as soon as you dip the chocolate in there, the strawberry, the chocolate gets on it, you need some place to kind of put it and let it cool. Now after I'm done with the dark chocolate, I wanted to mention that I'm also going to show you a technique where we kind of drizzle a white chocolate over it. You could also have some ground up nuts. Once you've dipped it in the chocolate, you could sprinkle some nuts on it. There's a lot of different things you can do. But I'm going to show you this white chocolate technique. I think they call it the tuxedo. So as soon as this is done, I'll show you how to dip them, and then I'll show you the white chocolate. Okay, I'm going to try to do the first strawberry. I'm using a fork, and I'm just going to stick it in the stem. You want it to be in there pretty good because you're going to just kind of lightly dip it. And this is kind of the test. If you think that it's too thick, like this is, and you can use your spoon to kind of smooth it, but you just want it on the bottom half. Now this is a little thick, so I think I'm going to put just a little more water, but the chocolate's ready to go. And then you want to just set it there. So I'm going to put just a tiny bit more water in it. I want it just a little runnier. You don't want a big clump on the strawberry. I'll do another strawberry now that I put a little more water. It should work a little better. Keep a spoon in it, just make sure it doesn't burn you. Keep moving it around a little. Let's do another one. It's really important too to use kind of firm strawberries. Okay, I've got it in there. There you go. See, that's perfect. And you could also omit the coffee, and you could put cinnamon, or if you have like a caramelized ginger, anything that you would like. Mint, you could even put mint. I'll do one more, and then I'm going to show you the white. Oh yes, this is perfect. And don't worry, I just lost that one. You can always pick it back up. Oh, I lost it again. Well, if that happens, you're going to have one that has a lot more chocolate. Let's try another one. Some of these are odd shaped too. And if it has a few blemishes, don't throw it away. We'll just try to get the chocolate on that part. So for the white, I am taking, you want to use like some kind of a baker's. You could use, probably be better if you use chips. All I have is a bar, white chocolate. I'm going to slowly heat this up in the microwave. You could do this if you have more than one double broiler, certainly you could do dark chocolate and light chocolate. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this melted, and then I'm going to put it into, I don't have any bags, any piping bags, so I'm gonna make my own. I'm gonna put it in just a regular small Ziploc. This is a sandwich size. Cut the tip, and I'll show you how I'm gonna do that once it's melted. Now, one thing I noticed with this white, it's premium white chocolate. It does look kind of yellow, so I don't know if this is gonna turn out right. We're trying to do stripes on this. And what we're gonna do, you might wanna use a cup to fill it. Just kind of put it in there, it'll be easier to pour. Now, I've just slowly microwaved this, where you just keep stirring it, like maybe 30-second intervals, because chocolate burns really easily. So we're just gonna pour this in here, in this sandwich Ziploc bag. And again, you might wanna look for the whitest chocolate you can to kind of contrast against the chocolate. I'm hoping this works, but at least it'll give you an idea. And you want to seal it, but then you want to try to make it all go to one end. And then you want to just have, it look like this. You try to push all of it to one corner, and then you want to just barely tip the end of this. Oh, see it comes out. So have it over your cup. So here's what we're gonna do. Just drizzle. And it's okay if it gets on the stem a little. Okay, so once that dries, it's gonna look like you have like little stripes. Okay, so this is my take on chocolate covered strawberries, ginger spiced beet latte, heart-shaped pancakes. Just enjoy Valentine's Day, enjoy each other, give each other love. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you try any of these or if you have your own favorite Valentine's recipe. I'd love to see what that is. And see you next time. Have a good week.